Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bitcoin News Hour, brought to you by Cafe Bitcoin, the most active Bitcoin club on Clubhouse. During the Bitcoin News Hour, we will cover all the latest headlines in Bitcoin, but this isn't your normal network news show where they talk and you just listen. Today's headlines will be presented and discussed by you, the members of Cafe Bitcoin. To participate in the Bitcoin News Hour, simply change your avatar to the headline you'd like to talk about. Today's moderators will then bring you up from the audience. You'll get 1 to 2 minutes to introduce the headline and give everyone the gist of the story. And then everyone will discuss the news before we move on to the next headline. Now, before we get started, do us a favor and click the plus sign at the bottom right of your screen to invite anyone you know who might enjoy this show. And if you're new to Cafe Bitcoin, click on Cafe Bitcoin at the top left and join the club. You can also visit cafebitcoin.club to find our full schedule of events, as well as a fantastic list of beginner Bitcoin resources. And now, get your headlines ready because it's time for the Bitcoin News Hour.
Well, you heard it there, folks. That's our little intro, and we need you to participate. So go out, take a look. We're basically doing this so we can help everyone save time. So everyone's going to share one headline. Please go and find a headline, take a photo, change your avatar to that photo of the headline, and then don't be shy. Raise your hand, and we'll bring you up to help tell everyone the news. I'm going to go look for one right now. Aaron, why don't you kick us off and show everyone how it's done?
Yeah, sure. So in Turkey, if anyone's not familiar with the situation there, they are part of the Eurozone, but they're kind of not, they're struggling a little bit. We've seen countries in the Eurozone struggle before. About a month ago, the lira, the Turkish lira, their fiat currency, devalued about 20% overnight. They've been struggling with Erdogan doing various things throughout the recent 12, 24 months. Last year, he was on TV pleading with his residents, his citizens, to please deposit Bitcoin and please deposit gold. Please, give the banks are running out of money. Can you please help us? So various struggles, and the most recent struggle is a cryptocurrency exchange called Thodex, which within the past couple of days has just abruptly went offline. Data from CoinGecko, which is just using the data reported by the exchange, says that that exchange transacted about $1 billion a day in volume, and now everyone who has money on that exchange cannot access it. There is no further update. There's an undated statement on the website and various investigations into what's causing it. But recently also, Turkey banned the use of cryptocurrencies generally as a form of payment. That was, I think, last week. And so now we have one of the major exchanges in Turkey going offline. And it seems very curiously timed regarding the outage. So for me, takeaway from the headline is just to reiterate the safety concerns of holding your Bitcoin with any custodian, no matter where it is in the world. There have been many instances of exchange hacks in the past, so you want to make sure that you actually have your private keys and the Bitcoin in a wallet that you secure, because you can never trust any Black Swan event, a custodian.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Aaron. If anybody wants to comment up here, please do. Otherwise, Camilla, I see we went for the same headline, so I'll let you take that one, and then I will go find another headline. I'm also going to call out Cryptographics in the audience, who I know in IRL, and tell him to participate. Cryptographics, no freeloading here, buddy. Go find a headline. Join us on stage.
Yeah, so sorry, Brecky, Jinx, we got the same headline, but it's just very interesting to see these types of headlines. So Guggenheim's Scott Menard warns Bitcoin could plunge 50% in near term. So his comment is that Bitcoin is getting very frothy and could see a major correction in quotation marks in near term. He says, I think we could pull back to 20,000 to 30,000 on Bitcoin, which would be a 50% decline. However, he still remains bullish over the long run, predicting that there will be an eventual rise to 400,000, from 400,000 to 600,000. So I just found it to be a super interesting headline, because what I feel like people like him are doing is kind of creating FUD around Bitcoin, so that a whole bunch of people sell and try to get those on quotation gains, so that he eventually is able to just fill his pockets with Bitcoin if the price were to go down.
Okay, this guy is crazy. This guy
Good old
is
Scott
crazy.
Minerd.
Yes, he is. So he had a $400,000 price target on Bitcoin, but he's warning people that it could drop 50%. I mean, this guy is just. I mean, every other month he comes out with these reports that are just written by him. Let's be honest, and he has like this commentary and this random technical analysis element that he brings to it. The Guggenheim family, they came from like the early 20th century with mining money, and they've built this investment vehicle, and they have, their various clients that they've accumulated over the last century. So good on them. And I'm glad Scott does a great job with them. And he seems like they seem happy with his job as an analyst. But this price target on this brand new asset class that Guggenheim has no, meaningful experience in.
Yeah. And it's funny because while at the same time we did just see a pretty big price fall. It's not really that big for Bitcoin, but we did see the largest, like one of the largest liquidation events in history. And like what that tells me, just like directionally, Bitcoin wants to go up, and investors are, in general, trying to play on that momentum. And a lot of them are long, and some of them were too long. And those people got wrecked, which is why we recommend not trading and just holding Bitcoin. But it looks like there's a little bit of a healthy kind of correction when you got too much leverage in the system. Things can get a little kind of dangerous in a way for those people, but not for holders, because it's corrected back to like a more healthy place, and then we can start kind of moving back up without all that, without insane amounts of crazy leverage, and we can just do it more healthy way. So.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Scott's an interesting fellow. I have a friend who used to work for Guggenheim, and my buddy has actually come over, and he supports Bitcoin now. And I think he kind of understands the value prop the way that most Bitcoiners do. But it takes time, and a lot of these people are viewing it through the lens of a fiat money lens, which kind of taints their opinions, and in my opinion at least. So,
Hey, Brecky, can I do the headline that I have right now? I do have a real headline, but I can't. Is that okay?
Yeah, my conclusion on that story is that Scott Minerd at Guggenheim is a $400,000 price target.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ben, you can go, but I'd like to play I just want to do a little sound effect before you go. So give me half a second.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen. Bitcoin!
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of urgent, and it's a little terrifying for the gold holders here. In case
I thought it was appropriate.
Yeah, I love it. In case you guys missed it, there was just a big debate between Michael Saylor and Frank Giustra, who is a big gold proponent. Obviously, you guys all hopefully know who Michael Saylor is at this point. And there was a lot of stuff that happened in the debate, but I wanted to particularly point out, which was kind of a piece of news that kind of dropped, that Michael Saylor found out. He did some research on the biggest gold miners in the world. He found out that none of them hold Bitcoin. They could be saving, millions in taxes every year if they were long the asset that they are tied to as as an industry. But they're all basically short Bitcoin. Did I say Bitcoin? None of them are holding gold, right? They're gold miners in the world. None of them are holding gold, and they're basically short gold. And well, maybe they're buying Bitcoin. We don't know, folks. But yeah, I thought that.
That makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah, it's actually technically not true. I mean, there is a stock that obviously at the gold mine, when these companies are pulling gold out of the ground, they have gold. So, and also there's various, in the chain that they have to get it through to to the markets that they're actually selling these gold. And these gold mines, by the way, like, there's a huge one in the Dominican Republic. There's a huge one in various, like, Caribbean and Indonesia, Polynesian islands. So also in like remote forest areas and way up north. So they have gold, but it's just a matter of they don't actively maintain, or like they haven't been buying gold and keeping gold on their balance sheet. They, have always been selling down their stock very periodically. So, and it is concerning. When you look at the gold mining companies, the Bitcoin mining companies, they own Bitcoin. They've been actively buying Bitcoin and refusing to sell it in order to stockpile it. So it's
Exactly. We hold it and we stack it and we don't want to sell it because we believe in it. And that's the thing about integrity. Integrity is when you back up your words with your actions. The gold miners see no value in holding it in debt.
Yeah, all the gold people are like hedging with 10%.
Hey, folks, real quick, I definitely want to continue this conversation a little bit, but I see a few folks with their... Sorry about that. I see a few folks with their hands raised. Do us a favor, please go find a headline related to Bitcoin and change your avatar to that headline. This show has a very specific format, and we ask that anyone who wants to come up on stage who isn't brought up as a commentator finds a headline and contributes. This doesn't work without all of you helping out and doing your part. None of us have time to go through and read all of the headlines every single day, so that's why we do this. We try to outsource the work and share the burden. So do us a favor, go find a headline, and let's make this a great show. I've got a headline real quick that I'll share, and then we can move to Ben, who I see has a new one. Both Bens, actually. We'll do a double Ben. So real quick, also one other note, folks, pull down your screen to refresh the avatars every now and then so you can see what these headlines are. And for the folks who are sharing headlines, if you wouldn't mind dropping the links to those articles in the companion Telegram group that we have. All right, so Signature Bank goes head-to-head with Silvergate in Bitcoin-backed lending. New York-based Signature Bank will soon start offering its crypto clients Bitcoin-backed cash loans, executives revealed on an earnings call Wednesday. The bank joins its rival Silvergate, which has been offering Bitcoin-backed loans since June of last year, and crypto lending startups including Genesis, BlockFi, and Unchained Capital. Genesis, like CoinDesk, is owned by Digital Currency Group. The move shows an appetite for crypto-collateralized loans from banks that have more stable funding sources, i.e. FDIC-insured deposits, and tougher underwriting standards than the startups. We want it to be a zero-loss business, said Signature CEO Joseph DePaolo, and so we're only going to have it for the very, very best clients. We're going to underwrite it to death, have deep discounts and quality custodians. It will contribute in 2021, but not necessarily in the second quarter to a great extent. Signature says it's still in the process of doing due diligence on the custodians it wants to use for the Bitcoin-backed loans. Silvergate works with Fidelity, Coinbase, Anchorage, and Bitstamp for its lending product. There's a bit more to that. I'll post the article in the group. Overall bullish. I think the lending space is just going to keep expanding as Bitcoin grows, and large Bitcoin holders and small Bitcoin holders want to leverage their assets without selling them. So if anybody has thoughts, we can take those. Otherwise, we'll move on to one of the Bens.
Yeah, no, this is really critical, and this is not going to stop. Every bank wants the fees. Every bank wants the books, the customers, the relationships, and all the subsequent value that they extract from people in this process. This is not going to stop. I just think every bank, as it becomes nationally available to do these transactions and become more comfortable, the insurance lines are available for this stuff, and they figure out how to actually have it in custody securely, that they're going to offer loans. It's going to be... right now it's a very nascent industry. You have like shitcoiners telling you that they can do yield for you on your Bitcoin. They have, BlockFi obviously has had its problems as it's been growing up. But this is an industry that's just going to keep going and also will allow liquidity. People are wondering well, what's going to happen when no one wants to transact anymore and everyone just wants to hodl? Well, there's going to be solutions like this that continue, propagating, and I don't see an end to it. It's going to become a huge.
Yeah, Aaron, I agree. I mean, the lending industry, I think a lot of the interest rates are a lot lower than I kind of expect them to be in a more longer term. But Bitcoin's not not a fully monetized global asset yet. It's on its way to doing that. So yeah, I think every little bit kind of helps along the path there. So.
Definitely. I want to give a quick welcome to John Fakori, who is usually our host, who's dealing with the kiddos today. So I took over for a bit. Welcome, John. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm just daddying. Aria's giving me all the Bitcoin news off the block clock, so it's the best I got today.
Love that. All right, let's move on to one of the Bens. Ben Ortiz, what Bitcoin story do you have for us today?
Yeah. Last night at about 8 p.m., it looks like the mayor of Tennessee, he tweeted out and that they're going to be putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet. They're going to be paying their employees in Bitcoin or their city employees in Bitcoin, and they're also exploring mining Bitcoin as well. And the mayor changed his profile picture. He added laser eyes to his picture. So Jackson, Tennessee, joining the list of cities and governments that are hopping on the train.
Love to see it. Let the hash wars begin, I say. Quick welcome to American Hoddle, who's probably not going to say anything. He just wants to sit and mooch off our news. That's totally okay. Always happy.
I was gonna bring up the Guggenheim guy, but Camilla's already got.
Well, we'd love to hear your commentary on it. We did go into it, but if you have something to add.
Oh, I just think it's hilarious. I mean, how many times does he think he can pull this maneuver? You know what I mean? Like, you can't just keep doing this over and over again so that you get an attractive buy price. Like, it's just not gonna. You can't. It has diminishing returns going forward.
It's not a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's skyhook hodl. I know, I get it.
It's amusing.
I know.
Like, but and it's hilarious. It's nice. I mean, clearly he hasn't reached his target, his stacking goal. You know, he doesn't have that 6.15 yet. But, you know, when he gets there, I'm going to be proud for
him. Yeah, meanwhile, we'll just keep stacking along the way. All right. Ben, thank you again for sharing that. Let's move on to the next Ben. What do you got for us?
All right. So this one is, it sounds kind of dry, guys, so just bear with me. As Congress passed Digital Asset Innovation Act, I'm throwing that in the Telegram now, to clarify crypto regulations, right? So this bill requires Securities and Exchange Commission and the Commodities Future Trading Commission to establish a working group focused on digital assets. They say it's the first step in opening up the dialogue between our regulators and market participants, but it's not. It's just it's another kind of shoe dropping. But what really I think ultimately little things like this are actually amazing for the markets. We've seen when more regulation is passed, it's really ends up being more clarity for market participants, and we generally see that gives bigger players and really just market participants in general more clarity and that they can, and it generally moves forward in the price and it definitely brings up in the price because of that clarity that they feel that that it's starting to become something that they can participate in. So
Definitely bullish. Anything from the peanut gallery?
Got some noise in the background, so I'll try to be quick. But like we saw this with the pronouncements by the OCC to be able to custody tokens and crypto assets. I hate to say it in those terms, but it is what they clarified, being able to act as independent verification nodes, right? And then shortly after that, Bank of BNY Mellon makes the announcement that they make. So these types of like regulations oftentimes become really difficult to swallow, but oftentimes they've become really bullish. And so all the things that have come from whether it's been Gary Gensler or whether these pronouncements.
Thank you for sharing, John. Looks like we've got a couple news stories here. I want to welcome Olani to the stage. Emmerich, tell us about this story. Looks like some Shakepay news. Hopefully this is not a product shill, but go for it.
Hey guys, yeah, basically my story is a Canadian story. Shakepay is a company based in Montreal. It's just it's one of the easiest way to buy Bitcoin with Interact. And basically today they announced this card that allow us to have a Bitcoin cashback, and also you can use it for to any Visa merchant. So I guess it's just another easy way and fun way to stack sats.
Love to hear that. That's not available in the US, is it?
Only Canada.
Okay.
I feel like they deserve that though, because they don't have Fold. So
Yeah, we can let them have one thing.
yeah, I'm glad that they have a way to also stack sats.
Definitely. Thank you for sharing, Emmerich. If you wouldn't mind dropping that link in the Telegram chat. And Olani, welcome. What do you have?
Hey guys, it's actually quite simple, but I felt like it was very bullish, and the simplicity of it is great for me. But billionaire investor Bill Miller says Bitcoin is extraordinary early in adoption cycle. So the Daily Huddle had an article, but then I also posted on my Twitter. Bill Miller was also interviewed by CNBC. And it was a great interview, but he's pretty much just trying to let people know that I guess people are comparing it to 2017 bubble. I wasn't around then in Bitcoin, so I'm not quite sure. But anyways, he was just saying it's nothing like that. And in the video, he actually tells CNBC that they asked if he does any other altcoins, and he's like, no, I only do Bitcoin. And I guess they had some video problems, so he was bummed because he was wearing a Bitcoin hat. And but this specific article, what I really liked about it, they were pretty much just stating like just the whole adoption of it states here that Bitcoin is following the same adoption cycle that all the great technological innovations have had, like the printing press, the steam engine, and the railroads. And he also notes that out of all of the high-profile technology investors that could own Bitcoin, a very small percentage actually do. So the article also just goes on with him just explaining to people that you're still early, still get involved. And yeah, it's a super bullish article. So
Yeah, that's great to hear. I mean, Bill Miller came out, or it was something like last year or something, and he's a huge OG in the investment space, and I think this is interesting because it's not like he just kind of came out once and said he likes Bitcoin, but he's going and appearing, and he's talking about it, and obviously like wearing the Bitcoin hat, and he's not investing in shit coins. So I mean, how much?
yeah,
more
and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know who he was, so I definitely had to Google him. But just off the article and also seeing that video, it made me Google him, to see like, wow, he's all in. Because especially the video, she asked like, oh, do you do any other altcoins? And he's like, oh no, it's all Bitcoin. So he didn't call it shitcoin, but it just felt really bullish as fuck.
Love it. We all know he wanted to say shitcoin, but he was holding back. Although shitcoin's in the congressional record, so no one should be ashamed of using that word anymore.
Yeah, it's a highly technical term, as PR Shard points out. It's not a derogatory. It's a very highly technical term in the Bitcoin space. That's a PR.
Very true. Very true. Thank you, Ben. Ben, I see you have a new headline if you'd like to share.
No, I think that's the same one.
Oh, is it the same one? Oh, my bad then. Alrighty, folks. Anyone in the audience wants to go out and find another headline, please do so. We've got a hand raised. Giuseppe, I'm going to need you to find... Oh, where'd you go? No more Giuseppe. I think he got the message to go find a headline. If we don't have any more headlines, we might call it quits. We may call this a short show for today. I hope not. There's got to be some more news out there, folks. Go out there, take a look on Google, find something we haven't talked about, and raise your hand and discuss. In the meantime, John, how do you have time for Clubhouse with that zoo I heard in the background? I mad respect for you, my friend. That
you got to train them. You got to train them to contribute early, man. That's all. They're contributing. They're the ultimate hodlers, man.
Yep, they are. Alrighty, folks. We might be out of headlines for today, unless anyone else has anything to share.
Did we cover Michael? Did we cover Michael Saylor like surgically taking apart the old man? Just want to make sure.
Destroying him.
There we go. There's.
Did you hear about this?
I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, so I would love a breakdown. Travis, why don't you give us your story, and then some of the folks on stage who've watched it can do a postmortem.
I was in the car cutting in and out, but from what I heard, it was a beatdown. But they had a whole Clubhouse room on it, and they tried to take that apart. So I think if somebody else got a better wind of the way it went down, they might be able to.
My main takeaway from it was how early we are. Like, we are so early, guys. Like, the majority of the legacy world, and you can see how all these Wall Street guys, like the Guggenheim guy, they're literally FOMOing into this because they feel threatened by it right now. And that was all that Giustra could talk about, was basically how he's scared because he doesn't want Bitcoin to ruin the legacy world. And like, we're so early, and then you talk about Bill Miller being so bullish. It sounds like he's been talking to Michael Saylor because he understands that we're at the point in a revolutionary technology similar to the printing press. So, I mean, you can't get more bullish than that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the video was streamed into Clubhouse. I'm pretty sure it's going to be on YouTube somewhere, if it's not already. But I would encourage you to go watch it. It was basically, you could tell Saylor was well prepared, and the other gentleman was not.
I'm actually in the process of reposting it to the Swan Bitcoin YouTube channel, so you should be able to see it there in, I'd say, probably about 15 minutes or so.
I mean, it's hard not to be biased, right? Like, we know who our guy is in this fight, but like, I gave the example in the other room that, like, you know, I was a biased Bulls and Michael Jordan fan growing up, but it wasn't hard to tell, like, we were up by 30 without looking at the scoreboard. Like, what happened today was, like, it was poetry. It was econ. It was like part econ, part technology, part physics, part logic, part geopolitical, part history. I mean, I don't want to ruin this for people who didn't get a chance to hear it, but like, Michael was just surgical. He didn't even need the whole time, half the time. Like, he was just so focused. And when he would rebut them, they had this format of 5 minutes of a question answering and then a 1 minute rebuttal. And anytime Frank would go through his, you know, classic FUD arguments, and really not even well, like, presented FUD arguments, there have been people in these rooms that have presented them better. Michael just took it apart surgically. Boom, bada boom, bada boom, bada boom, bada boom. Like, he never missed the beat. Like, it was so clear who was more prepared. Brecky, there's this one take that I would encourage you to, like, be ready to put together for tomorrow or next week. But he goes through about 2,000 years of history of, like, just the bloody nature and takeovers and just attacks on humanity through the acquisition of gold and what that's represented over, you know, 2,000 to 3,000 years of history. Obviously it goes back further than that, but just like what Michael went through is just poetic, man. It was just absolutely, I made the analogy, strike him out, throw him out, kind of a, you know, baseball. And it wasn't close. It really was.
Yeah, it's true. John, the sports analogy I thought of was, it was pretty much like when Tyson just knew he was losing, he bit Evander Field's ear off, you know, bit his ear. Like, he just got so defensive. It was like he couldn't come back with facts. And so he just started, I felt like, using trigger words that boomers or people that are gold holders,
snake oil salesman, for sure.
Yeah, like, he was saying certain things, and then when he's like, it just concerns me.
Well,
yeah,
he was right. He's right about
even
that part. Let's all concede that, and I can't argue that. Let's just cut that part out. But go ahead, Alon.
Oh yeah, no, it's true. But just even like certain words, I felt like they're trigger words, like how he said, like, well, it just concerns me. You're telling these people, you know, to not invest in gold. And he's saying all these things when Michael Saylor, oh my God, you guys are going to be mind blown. I can't wait to listen to it again. But he breaks down that how many of these people actually don't hold gold themselves. And he's pretty much saying, like, because you don't believe in it.
Well, he was talking more specifically about gold mining stocks, right? And like how they don't actually hold the underlying asset themselves, which I thought was a lot of people in that room pointed out, just a really, just a condemning indictment for gold bugs, including Frank himself, probably.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love the way Michael Saylor spoke with such precision and conviction. And for him, there was nothing more than Bitcoin. But with Frank, he was all about diversity or diversifying your portfolio and even leaving the option to buy Bitcoin. So that was the difference to me, is that Michael was not investing in gold, yet Frank was suggesting Bitcoin and others. And that right there says a story of who really believes in their asset. So I thought it was really good.
That's a great point, Grace. And just to maybe like put a point of bow on this, like there was a clear concession at the end, right? So Michael did a really good job speaking to gold bugs, right? He said, okay, gold bugs are telling you just 10% of your portfolio. Frank's telling you 10% of your portfolio goes into gold. What about the other 90? Right? Michael's not telling people to go put 100% of their portfolio into money. He's not. Even his isn't, right? But the other part of this too is that at the end of this thing, Frank left some thoughts where he said, yo, you should put you should buy Bitcoin. You should make it part of your portfolio. I can't remember exactly, and I won't paraphrase it, but he actually says buy Bitcoin. It's just like, what else were you looking for? A bunch of gold bugs heard a gold bug say buy Bitcoin. Game over.
Yeah, he said you should buy hard assets like gold and Bitcoin.
Yeah, the one thing it was telling to me, to Grace's point, was it almost felt like he was begging for people to not sell their gold to do so, right? Like, you can get into Bitcoin and this other stuff, but don't sell your gold to do it. Just hold on to that. And it just felt like kind of...
Michael made the case for Bitcoin. Michael made the case against gold. Frank just kind of scrapped at the corners of really, really easy to, take apart FUD and on Bitcoin. He didn't make the case for gold.
Well, all right, folks. Do we have any more headlines? Any more commentary? It's been a great news hour. But if we're out of headlines, well, we're out of news hour.
Breaking news, gold is dead. Brecky, take us out, man. Thanks for covering for today, and thanks for making the routine. Not to but yeah, look.
Be sure to put not safe for work on that slaughter video.
Sure thing. All right, everybody. Again, thank you for joining. And give me 1 second, and I will play us out.
What a show, folks! Thank you to everyone who contributed and to everyone who listened in. Don't forget to join Cafe Bitcoin by clicking on Cafe Bitcoin at the top left of your screen. And remember to find our full schedule of events at cafebitcoin.club. We hope to see you again next time for the Bitcoin News Hour.